Alright guys, I'm back with just brief sound test. Again, the great thing about my setup is that it is stereo, and I have with the Yamaha THR10, I have it such that I could monitor everything in stereo. So let me just prove to you that this is stereo. So the way I have it set up again is my guitar goes into my HX effects, my HX effects goes into my Kemper, which is off screen, and then everything from my Kemper on comes back into my HX effects in stereo, and that goes out into my Mod Duo in stereo. So, you know, this is the benefit of having this, the setup is really that stereo effect. And really I'm just using the 4-cable method to connect my Kemper to my HX effects. So here is my clean tone. Actually, I have some reverb on, so let me take this off. So put my reverb back on. This I tend to have on all the time. So let's put on this cheesy sweep echo so you can hear. Okay, so I think you can hear that. And then out of my Kemper, the way I have this set up is I have a regular, I think this is a dotted eighth delay. And this is going in mono because the way that it's set up in my Kemper is that stomps A, B, C, and D are all mono. And then the X, mod, delay, and reverb are in stereo. So I've added this one, which is kind of a quarter note delay with a little bit of a dotted eighth. This is in stereo. I don't know if you can hear that. And then if I use them both, so you hear that stereo effect. I hope you can hear it through this amp. And then, so basically here is like mono, and then these are stereo and on my Kemper, but that doesn't really matter. So if I add in more, now these are again just kind of cheesy effects that I use to make things slightly different. But here's the beat chop tremolo, the sweep echo. I've got my dotted eighth, and quarter note delays all on. I mean, you can really hear that stereo effect. Okay, so another thing I wanted to show you was this Mod Duo. This is a really cool pedal. So I basically use it as kind of like an ambient pedal. So this is my swell button that I use. It's like for presets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swell in. Some delays. Let me add this beat trim and the sweep echo for the full effect. And then it's chorus maximum. without any swell. Let's just turn that off. And this is it without any pedal swelling. And the way I have this set up is I have my looper that is basically the last thing in my signal chain that before it goes into my modulo. So if I wanted to put together like a loop, I could do that too. So now it's looping, and then I can just add my swell. Of course, it's too loud. Okay, so turn that off. Let's stop that. And you can hear that the decay on that swell is just insane. Let's hear that first. Let's hear that again. All off. Okay, now I wanted you guys to hear some of the dirty effects on the HX. Oh, I forgot to mention that I use this pedal as my morphing pedal, and all I'm doing is turning up the gain on my Kemper by like 3 dots or something. So it's like, this is my clean tone. And when I add in, say, the Minotaur, clean Minotaur, that's what it sounds like. Here's a red squeeze comp. It's clean. There's a red squeeze and the Minotaur. And I have a boost on this guitar, on this, on my HX effect. Sorry, on my Kemper. I think this is like some fuzz. So if I add them all in, that's what I did. So add some delay there. Now, if I turn these all off, and I use a morphing pedal, you get that same thing essentially. It's a little bit not as loud, but if I add everything at a certain point, it's just you've maxed it out. You can't go any louder. So got the delays. So that's what I have. I've got kind of 3 or 4 or 5, maybe 5 levels of boost. So I've got my traditional clean sound. I can turn up the volume on my guitar, which I'm doing now, all the way. So it's variable there. Plus I've got my volume pedal. It's kind of overkill, but it works for me. And then my first level of boost is my Minotaur. So that's a nice dirt. And then I'll add the red squeeze to the Minotaur. honest with you, when I got the Kemper, really wasn't that impressed with the overdrive pedals. And that's what kind of led me to getting the HX Effects, because it's got the Minotaur, which is, you know, the Klon Centaur clone, basically. And it's got a bunch of great amps, like the LA Studio Comp. This is the Red Squeeze. And I really liked what I was hearing online. And then, you know, I started switching things up, and I use this drive, which is, let me see which one this is. This is the Kemper unit, and it's the green screen. So it's like I think it's the tube screamer, basically. But I love the sound, it's great. And also I realized, because I read this online somewhere, that if you just jack up, you know, the gain, you get a nice sustain. And basically what this does is it's kind of boosting. So if I'm just playing. Sorry about my terrible soloing. So I've got different levels of boost because sometimes I don't know what I want. That's just kind of how I roll. But again, like this Mod Duo pedal, I'm barely scratching the surface of what this guy can do. Essentially, this unit is, you can connect it to your computer, and you have all these open source plugins. There's like almost 200 of them, and you can create your own pedal board on your computer that will be loaded into your machine, and it sounds fantastic. I mean, this pedal board right here, this is my ambient pedal board. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 11 pedals on my computer screen that's showing what I have. And there's probably like 6 or 7 delays, a couple of reverbs. It's insane what you can do with this. So in addition to the 9 effects that you can get in the HX Effects, which you have access to 6 of them at any given time. 6 can be, let me clarify this. There are 6 foot switches, and you can assign multiple pedals to each foot switch. So there's as little as 6 to 9 effects you can access at any given time. My pedal board here, my MIDI controller, accesses the 8 stops in my Kemper. 4 of them, A, B, and C, and D, are mono, and then mod, X, delay, and reverb are all stereo. So there's 8 effects there. So we have 9 plus 8. And then in this Mod Duo, again, I have 11 effects on this one, and I haven't even maxed out the DSP on this pedal. So there's 9 plus 8 is 17, plus another 11 or so. It's insane what you can do with this kind of digital output. And one of the reasons why I wanted to go, well, A, I've always been kind of a digital person, but B, I don't want to throw my back out again carrying all this all these tube amps and all these pedals. And that's why I decided to get this digital pedal board all set up. And I'll tell you, the HD 500 as a MIDI controller, it might be overkill. And it is still heavy, and the HX Effects is, not light by any means, but it's got a nice small footprint. The Mod Duo, probably for the bang for your buck, you're going to get the most pedals in that little thing. But I have this set up on a Gator case. This is a pedal board, Gator case pedal board, or Gator pedal board. This thing, it weighs a ton, but fortunately it's got wheels. And then I've got my other setup, my Kemper and my THR-10. Those go in that little box, which again is right here. sorry, this one, and they all fit in there with all my extra cables that I need. And then I've got my guitar case. So, you know, it's not like it's not light by any means, but I think it's way lighter than carrying around, what, like 2 tube amps for that stereo effect, and a bunch of other pedals, other analog or digital pedals. So anyway, that's kind of my setup, and this is my sound. Hopefully you can hear the stereo effects. Maybe one day I'll be motivated enough to like actually plug it into like an interface so you can hear it. Okay, guys, thanks for bearing through this video. I hope you found this educational. All right, take care.